Hi, hi, hi. Video number 6. Today's video is about marketing. My thoughts on marketing and what should be my thoughts on marketing. Previously I discussed three things. One was the managing the partners, which are necessary for this business, and then the branding and copywriting, and what this business is going to tell the world. Today we're going to discuss the marketing. I say we, naturally. I only imagine this is happening with me. But I think it's crucial for everyone to understand how they're thinking before they actually make any decision. That's the only relevant decision to be made, is towards how you're processing things. Over the past week, let's say, I have been setting up just Facebook or Meta when it comes to the marketing pages, uh, the Instagram account, connecting it to my Shopify, and ultimately engaging with what's it called? With the ads section of it. The ads section has basically the sets that has the pixels, cute stuff, very cute stuff. As It's funny because the more I progressed with it, the more complicated it became. To set it up, it was simple. Like I found a YouTube person and I kind of like downloaded it and just watched it. And then as I was watching it, I was setting it up. Halfway through, I realized I set up way too many pixel accounts, but I set them up in my ad dataset section, which I still have no idea what it is. But it seems like the ads dataset is the one that records the data, while the pixels or the pixel part of the actual Meta business framework is the one that documents what's happening on your website. That's the feedback that Facebook gets in order to be able to see what kind of people are on your website, and then basically using that data in a more relevant way to kind of cater your ads. And the consistency in my train of thought is ultimately based on how they are actually teaching it and based on how everyone teaches like online marketing is every ad is supposed to return a certain revenue. Now, maybe you pay for a campaign, let's say $100. Revenue is going to be the sales that you get out of this campaign. And I'm still not sure how they actually like measure exactly what's going on after this campaign is done and how the actual people, maybe because they're coming through Facebook and Meta and Instagram, the people that click the links through Facebook and Instagram are registered as people that enter, and then Facebook basically traces them or tracks them into it. There's a fun way of trying to explain it, which is literally what I keep doing in my head. But then again, there's the details that I have to start considering are the ones that I want as a part of the thought process, which are ones that I can only consider when I start receiving data and go like, what do I do with this? So, as I was explaining it to myself earlier before I started shooting this video, is they make it very easy and simple for you to set up, but it's not clear at all. And I studied marketing, but that was about 15 years ago. And I graduated in marketing and advertising. But back then, I think it was still very basic. Online marketing wasn't a thing, and it wasn't a thing the way it is today. Back then, it was more just selling points and ads everywhere. I think in 2011, 2012, they started kind of like building online marketing classes, and they started like discussing these online marketing classes, or at the very least, teaching it somewhere. I don't know. It's 2023, so I'm 12 years too late for this. Or maybe I am literally approaching everything. Like instead of just going for the ice cream, I'm going for the full sundae. It's like 13 years down the line. And the way I see it is like, Right now, everything that needs to be tested has already been tested, which means that all I have to do is understand what the fuck I am trying to do, and I have all the tools for me to do it. And that's what keeps going in my head because these are the tools I'm going to be using on a day-to-day basis, and the more I try to use them, the less clear their purpose becomes. And maybe I'm overestimating my knowledge of what data I'll be using in the future, or maybe I'm just complicating things in my head because I'm already starting to think of the things that I could potentially be doing. And it goes back to a couple of videos before where I discussed it. Like, 7% is enough, and then the rest you want what the person you're negotiating with to tell you. So maybe I should focus more instead of on the marketing campaigns, on the way I could get feedback through them, the way I can get some form of like reviews, or you know, we're online, so we're gonna get random people, browse, get to our website, decide yes, I'm gonna enter, I'm gonna do stuff, and ideally, if I can start some form of conversation with them, eventually they'll get to know the website well. And when I say I say as a website, as a company, as a brand, or at least as a yeah, it's a company because like if I don't treat it as the company that it is, the brand that I have, nobody else would. It'll just be like, oh yeah, man, I've been there, I've seen this, but there's no actual like centered value in the people's minds. And ultimately, that's what you have to create because, like, everyone knows Facebook now. But the reason they know it is because a part of their head understands what Facebook is about, and that's how Facebook basically managed to sweep the world because they created something, people were able to relate to it, and they built towards it like crazy. So back to the marketing. I have the tools, I have the platform where I can actually like connect to my people. The connections are limitless. The way to connect with them is limitless. And ideally, my starting point should only be relative to where I am right now. Going back to it, where am I right now? As I think about this, and remember a couple of days the samples arrived, I expected disappointment, but my disappointment I can handle. And I think I say that arrogantly. So I showed the samples to a couple of people, and they didn't mind the product. They were just not that interested, which automatically creates some form of like doubt in the entire brand that I was trying to create in my head and its relevance to the business sector that I'm trying to like enter. How the hell do you justify what you're trying to do? Because ultimately, you're investing your time, you're investing your energy, your thoughts, all these things, and your money. And the goal is to make money back. And how would you justify spending a couple of $1,000s getting the products and then trying to sell them? And if they're not decent enough for people to kind of like want to be attracted to or interested in, or just like, hey, let's jump it and like try it out, right? Like, some people are okay spending $5 on nothing. Some people are okay spending $50 on something they change their mind on. Some people are okay spending 1,000. Some people are not even okay to spend $1. So segregating my crowd, I thought I had it. I thought I had the people that I wanted to target, but their relevance suddenly became meaningless simply because the product itself is no longer portraying the image that I created in my own head. So everything that I thought about on how to create content around the product, everything I thought about on how to advertise and connect with the people towards the product, it's gone. It's very much filled with doubts. And one of the things I started thinking about, be like, okay, so like, we already paid a certain amount of money to get samples, get a website going, and all these things. And maybe that was a part that I rushed into because you follow tutorials, right? And tutorials tell you first get a website, make sure you pick a name. After you pick a name, think of the brand, and after you think of the brand, like pick your products. And when you pick the product, all these things. And maybe they kind of were misaligned when it comes to the steps that they had to do, because now that I got the samples, my choice is should I commit or not? Because this commitment means I'm taking the extra step in order to go in that direction. And is it something I'm willing to do with somebody else's money? And what are the odds that a product that is not that appealing to the masses can be salvaged through proper marketing and advertisements? And how am I supposed to create some form of like distinguished relevance between them, where I understand that if I market a certain kind of way, I'm not just wasting more money on marketing instead of just re strategizing and picking different products? I want to believe that if I follow the feedback that is very much necessary in order for me to evolve in my marketing, that should be enough for me to be able to like sell my brand across. But a big part of me is hesitating, probably my lack of experience, probably because I rushed into like choosing the brand or the product or just believing that this is a good idea, which I still believe it is. It's just not the idea that's going to make me money right now or start making money for the people that I'm working with over the next 3 to 6 months. And the hype kind of died out of it. And I have to be able to like explain to them tomorrow that we're going to have to be making a decision right now if we're going to like rebrand, restructure, which would have already cost us about $400, or go for it the way it is, which will cost us about $3, $4,000 between the products that we're getting and between the marketing and branding that we have. And there goes my thought process on marketing and the good stuff. Video number 6.